Hey everybody, long time since I've did a video like this, an inking video I should say. Um, One question I get a lot is people always want to know what's the best way to learn inking, whether it's traditional or digital. And for the longest time, I would have definitely recommended, well, just go find some pencils online or a lot of books nowadays will have issues that come out that just show the pencils or the ink work or whatever. Um, and just scan them in if you can scan them in, or get them off of Google or whatever, and then just start there. And then I ran into a few different artists that I follow that I like their work, and I noticed that one or two of them did something kind of unique. What they would do is they would ink over other people's artwork that's already been inked. So they're basically just using, kind of learning inking through observing um, what someone else has done. And I thought, well, that's a really good way to start to learn more about inking, because then you can see how different artists deal with light and dark, and how they progress with shadow. Is it hatching or cross hatching? Are they doing zipatone? You know, how do they do the things they do? So I actually just wanted to work over a section on this piece that I'm doing now. This is the original art is Javon or JJ Kirby and Sandra Hope. Um, Sandra is a wonderful inker. She's been in the business a really, really long time. You can follow her, I know, on Instagram. I think it is at Ink Monkey Hope. And she does little videos here and there showing a little bit of inking, kind of like teasers. And but she's a phenomenal talent. Now this piece is from DV8, which was a book back in the 90s, Image through Wildstorm Publishing. Um, like I said, the artwork is Javon Kirby. He usually goes by JJ Kirby. You can find him on social media as well, as along with Sandra Hope. So I did a lot of these panels already. Um, what I did was I just took the original. This is a piece of original art I own, so I scanned it in, um, turn off these layers, converted it to blueline, which a lot of inkers work over. And then I have a layer that is for the blacks, and then layer for the white inks. Um, I usually do corrections, like if I make a mistake or whatever. I usually tend to correct it with white ink, or digitally white ink, compared to then just erasing the area away. I just think it's kind of like that's what people have to do traditionally. If you make a mistake on a piece of art, you got to use whiteout, liquid paper, white ink, white paint, whatever, to correct those mistakes. So that's what I do, even traditionally. So um, everything here is pretty straightforward, just inking. I'm using the mapping pen, which comes with Clip Studio Paint. The only changes I made to the brush is I do usually keep my stabilization up very high. I have tremors in my hands because of some medical issues, so 25 actually seems to kind of help me a lot. It may be going up higher though, because things are getting a little bit worse. But um, and then some dot dash stuff. You got regular hatching, and then put a screen tone over it. Now the pattern that they have on theirs is looks more squared. I couldn't find that in Clip Studio Paint, that kind of square pattern, so I just used dots to simulate it, and I went a little bit more dense with the dots, just to kind of grayed out a little bit more. Like when you zoom out, you could tell that area is grayed out. There's some cross hatching here, some gridding, you might call it as well. Um, I do try to, when you do these kind of projects, um, you want to try to, um, I want to say emulate or copy what the inker and the artist have already done. Um, when you're first starting out. So, you want to try to be as true to what's on the page as possible, because that's what you're learning. You're learning, like, oh, look how, Sandra did the hair, or look how she did this pattern over here or that pattern over there. How can I do that with the tools that I have? And that goes, digital or traditional. It doesn't matter. It's just, you know, you want to get control of the tool that you're using. So I'm going to zoom in real close here. This is a lot closer than I normally do, um, just because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Um, and I'm following her lines, but I'm not trying to be exact. And you don't have to be exact. You don't have to sit there and spend hours doing like 5 lines because you want to get them exactly right. You want to get close, because that's the purpose of doing this, is to actually learn how, what it takes for you to throw the type of the line that uh, um, this inker has already thrown. So like I said, I'm not using any special pens or markers or anything. I mean, there's a ton of custom brushes that you can get for Clip Studio Paint, and I have a ton of custom brushes, but I figure with a video like this, I really just want to do it with a brush that is already available in Clip Studio when you buy it. This is I set this up to be 11 by 17 at 600 DPI. Because it makes it a little bit less of a strain to ink. And I'm not going to worry about filling in the black areas right now. Now, when you throw your line, you can throw it and you can try to get it in one throw. Or you can kind of do what I tend to do, is I usually do 2 or more lines, kind of like to finesse the line a little bit more. It really comes down to style, but it also comes down to like time. If you're in a hurry, you got a sharp deadline or whatever, then you're gonna probably want to throw your lines in one pass, uh, just for the sake of saving time. And you notice as I'm doing, like I said, I'm trying to follow the lines that Sandra has put down over JJ's work, um, but I'm not worried about perfection. I'm not trying to, I guess, um, well, yeah, I guess you are. You're kind of trying to mimic her work, but in the same sense, it's like, you're not here to make it. It's not to make an exact copy, of someone's work. You're following the lines that they have put down, like you would do with an inker, with a penciler, if this was just pencils. Uh, it's really interesting when you look at artwork up close, when you kind of see the imperfections, and I'm trying to do even the imperfections, like the little mistakes or whatever that might be in the piece. Um, but see, I'm getting my 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 hand used to doing her line, the kind of line she's using. And when you're looking at these pieces, then you can sit there and go, you can start to understand, like what kind of shadows, what kind of shading was used for what part of the piece. It's like, when you look at people like, well, even Sandra, but like, Richard Friend or Jonathan Galapion or Scott Williams or any of the big name inkers. You'll see them use like dry brush effects. You'll see them use this effects or that effects. So when you do something like this, when you're actually working over someone else's work, you see how they kind of handle the situation. Like you look here, um, Sandra, has solid black lines for the chin, and then the neck comes down solid lines, and you got a straight black shadow. No hatching, no cross hatching, whatever. But then you come back here and you look at the areas where they don't want black, but it's not white, so you want that gray look. She puts a pattern in there that when you zoom out, you get that, light gray, black. So it's very interesting. Let's get away from the hair. The hair's not that exciting. Um, I'm trying to do this fast so the video won't be too terribly long. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more so you can see. I rotate the page a lot. The canvas, I guess they call it in these programs. But the thing is, if you can do this, if you find people's artwork online, um, like already penciled, which, I'm sure you can, whether you're a fan of like Jim Lee and Scott Williams, or, uh, you like, trying to think of teams that have been working together for a while, like Greg Capullo and Jonathan Galapion. It's not that you're trying to steal their artwork, and that's something you definitely shouldn't do. You don't do this and then try to sell it as an original artwork or something. It's not nice to do, and you're going to get yourself in trouble. But for me, this is just a great way to learn. This doesn't necessarily go into your portfolio when you get to that point. This is, like I said, just an exercise that if you're a beginning inker, you can do to kind of get the feel of inking, learning the tools that you have available, whether you're using traditional ways like a nib or a brush, or if you're working, digitally in Procreate, or, Clip Studio Paint, Photoshop, whatever, there's that Sketchbook Pro, whatever, you're just learning your tools while also kind of looking at like, oh, this person interpreted shadow this way. This person is somebody who does a lot of cross hatching. If you look at the artwork of Frank Cho, um, he does a lot of very detailed pen work, like ballpoint pen work. Um, you know, Plus this is also getting to know your tools, the brushes you're using, the program that you're using, getting used to sensitivity, which is the biggest part of, I think, really inking, is you got to get that control when it comes to pressure, because as you know, it's like, the more pressure you put on these pens that have pressure sensitivity, the thicker your line gets. So you want to get used to the feel of the pen if you have a tablet. And it doesn't matter what kind of tablet you have. It's like, I know everybody, the dream for every artist, I'm sure, is, a Cintiq, like a huge Cintiq, like 22 inches or 85 inches or whatever they're up to now. But you can ink, you can color, you can draw using even, I don't know if Wacom still has them, but they used to have like the bamboos, which were cheap, kind of inexpensive tablets that you could get, um, that you could start out with, and then, from there you would move up to probably the one of the Intuos models. I don't know if they even have those anymore. And then of course all professional artists want the Cintiq, and I'm using an older 13-inch HD Cintiq, um, just because of workspace availability that I have. I mean, of course, I would love to get like a bigger one, but um, they're just really expensive, and I just don't have the money for them. But I'm happy with my little 13-inch Cintiq. And I know I said I don't have to get it perfect, but then my OCD comes in. Good thing to remember when you're throwing your lines too is, depending on the length of the line, like this line, what I do is I kind of lock my elbow and my forearm, and I'm only using my wrist. Now, some people might do it a little different. Some people, like, everything they do is they use their elbow. Um, it just depends on your style, what feels comfortable to you, and then also the kind of the room you have too. Like if I have longer lines, I do throw, I basically lock my forearm, my wrist, and I just move across the page using my elbow. But see, the way I have my thing set up, sometimes my pen will come too far away from the screen, so it stops. So I tend to try to do as much as I can with just moving my wrist and hand. This is probably not there, but I'm going to add that little line just to kind of make some more of that shadow there, the gray there. And like I said, normally I don't work this close. When you work this close, one, it takes longer for you to actually complete a piece, because you think you're doing like, oh, I covered a large area, and then you zoom out and you realize, oh, I didn't cover a large area. But then also you can get lost in the details. Sometimes, there are details that the artist has drawn, the penciler has drawn. And if you actually do it the way the artist drew it, penciler drew it, it probably wouldn't show up in the finished art, the printed artwork. So you're just basically wasting time inking something that's not even going to really be seen in the book, if that makes sense. It's fun to get into the details, and when you're learning and practicing, yeah, sure, do whatever you want to do. It's not a big deal. But if you're working on a schedule, a deadline, then you're just wasting valuable time, which is costing you money, because you're probably getting a page rate. So the quicker you get the pages done, in theory, the quicker you get your money. Even though I think some companies do have set payout days, like the second Friday or whatever of the month or whatever. I love the simplicity of JJ's lines and the way that they're handled by Sandra. I think they complement each other very well. If you want to see some really phenomenally, like, a little bit older work from Sandra outside of like what she's doing now with DC, I recommend, it's a book that was done by Humberto Ramos. Well, she worked with Humberto Ramos on 2 books, I think, for Wild Storms. They had an imprint called Cliffhanger, and it was Humberto Ramos, um, Joe Madureira, and J. Scott Campbell. And Humberto had a book called Crimson, and it was a vampire book, really good. I think they did, I want to say 25 issues, and it was Sandra inking Humberto, and then they ended Crimson, and Humberto did another book called, for I think for the same imprint, the Cliffhanger imprint. It was called Out There, and the ink work on that, I actually own a few of the original art pages that I was lucky enough to snag either through dealers, or actually bought a number of them directly from Sandra. Um, the lines are just so crisp and perfect. It's just it looks incredible in person when you see it. You know, the bad thing about being an inker is that I don't think inkers in the industry get the recognition they deserve. I'm sure everybody feels that way. I'm sure the pencilers feel that way. I'm sure writers feel that way. Colorists feel that way. But honestly, I think inkers really get the shaft when it comes to the recognition for their work. If you ever do any research on, like, say, John Buscema, um, phenomenal artist, um, did some amazing work for Marvel. Um, but look at his art style when it comes to the um, inkers that work over him, and also look at, like, at what kind of state was the artwork given to the inker. A lot of the time with John's work, it seems, from what I gather online and stuff, um, like a lot of the stuff were just kind of layouts, rough layouts, and um, the inker um, was responsible for finishing the work. If you hear a blowing noise right now, it's the room I'm set up as my office is close to the heating unit in my home. So when the furnace turns on, the blower kicks in. You might be able to hear it. I'll try to see if I can edit it out though from the video. So I downloaded some new video software for editing, and I have no clue how to use it yet because I really haven't been making videos too often. Um, just for health reasons and other reasons. Uh, my computer a little while ago kind of crapped the bed, and I had to wait to get money to buy another one. I bought a used one from a friend, um, and then mostly health reasons and the holidays and stuff has kind of stopped me from doing videos. I've actually done, should say they haven't stopped me. I've done a couple of videos. I just never posted them because I just don't think they're really good videos. So I was just like, oh, I don't want to put up videos I don't like. So ended up not doing that. Um, so like I said, if you kind of want to do this, you know, I think it's a good learning tool. Um, you know, find artwork that you like, find an inker that you like. Make sure it's something that you can handle at your skill level. It's a lot. I think it's a little bit easier digitally than it is traditionally. Um, but no matter what, you should work on art that you're capable of. You feel that you're capable of being able to figure out, like, oh, how did she do this, or oh, how did he do that, or you know, whatever. It's like you know, because it's about deciphering kind of like the way the artist did did their work, you know. Also, if you want to check out a really good channel for inking, Ryan Wynn, Winn, who has worked for Joe Weems, has worked with Danny Mickey, um, has worked, I think, pretty much for all the studios in Image. Um, he has a YouTube channel called the Ink King. I think it's one word, but you can do. I think you can do the search just under Ryan, and every so often he'll do these. He'll do a drawing, and he'll let you um, download the finished um, inked version, so that you can go over and kind of ink it yourself. And he doesn't care if you do it exactly like him or whatever. And he's a really nice guy. He's really into kind of teaching the craft to people. So he's definitely someone I would recommend checking out if you're interested in inking. Um, yeah, I really wish more inkers would do more like instructional videos. I mean, I know Scott William did a sped up inking of a page by Jim Lee, and I don't even know. I think it's over 1 million some views or some ungodly number. And then I haven't seen anything from him since. Um, and I was just thinking, it's like I think it's like, man, wouldn't it be awesome if you could just go onto YouTube and be taught by someone like Scott Williams? I mean, there's only so much you can do in videos and stuff like that. I mean, that's sadly just the way it is. But still, who wouldn't sit there and go, yeah, I watched Scott Williams was talking about cross hatching, and, he kind of opened my eyes to, what cross hatching is, and how it's used in comics, um, and all that good stuff. I would love to see something like that. Now you see here, I'm trying to get close to her line, but I'm not 100%, just trying to copy it. It's not exact because I ink differently than Sandra, and that's fine. This is, like I said, this is just a tool for kind of getting an idea of how people do things. And when you're watching this video, you're seeing how I would do it or how I'm trying to duplicate the line. Doesn't mean that's the way that Sandra originally created the line. So, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But I thought this would be neat to do a video to kind of chat a little bit. And I haven't really spent a lot of time with my channel and stuff. And I keep on saying that I'm going to do more, and then life kind of takes me another direction or whatever. But yeah, I figured I would just do like a little video. And I definitely, like I said, I definitely encourage people to try to do something like this. It doesn't have to be with this piece or whatever, but do it with any piece you like. If you do want to do this piece, though, you want to take a whack at doing the page, whether you do it just following closely to what Sandra put down, or if you want to just do it in your own way, you can. You can treat the inks as pencils and just go from there. Follow me on Twitter. You can find me at, it's, the at symbol, Geist, Geist, inking, Inking. That's one. I put them together as one word. Follow me, and then just message me and say, hey, I saw the video the Deviate page that you're working on, could you um, send me the file so I can work on it too? And I'll be happy to do that for you. Um, and then maybe, if you like the way you did the page and how it turned out, and if you were able to kind of figure, where you wanted to go with it, then, you could always share it on Twitter and at me, and so I can see it. Uh, I would love to see a building of a community of inkers. Um, like I said, I don't think inkers get the credit they deserve in the industry. I don't think a lot of people understand exactly what an inker does. Um, though I do, when people do ask me like what I do, art wise, I basically give them Jonathan Galopian's answer that I heard him give one time. I think it was in a video. Is that I'm an inker, and what I do is I come in and I paint the pencils black. So it's like I'm painting the blacks into the picture. And some people get it easier that way, I guess. Some might not. It's just, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people understand what inkers do, and a lot of people don't necessarily care unless they're an artist, like a penciler, or a fellow inker. So, um, I've been doing this now for to 10 years, maybe more. Um, and I can count the work that I've gotten to actually work over like original artwork and stuff, um, kind of on one hand. I did a big project, two big projects actually. What was it last? I think it was last year, maybe the year before. No, last year. For these guys in Korea who they were doing kind of like their take of a Western style comic book, like American style comic book, um, but using artists actually from all over the world. I mean, the two main people who were behind the book were in Korea, and then me being in the United States, and then they had somebody in I think Brazil, or some Latin American country, maybe possibly Central South America even. Um, it was supposed to be like this kind of really diverse group of people, um, kind of bringing, this comic to life kind of in the American style. And I finished my work on it, I know that, and I was paid uh, not as much as I think I should have, but that's always the case, I guess. Once you take a job and then you're like, oh, I should have said more. It was supposed to be crowdfunded last year or this year. Like I said, I don't remember when I did the work. I have to dig out the files. Um, it was supposed to go to crowdfunding. And I thought personally, from what I saw from the book and was told by people, the main people on the book, I felt like it was I think it would have been a good crowdfunding success, but to my knowledge, they've never crowdfunded it. I've never seen the project, so listed. So it's great to get the work. It's great to make the money, but I really need exposure to get my name out there. Not saying that I'm going to work for exposure. Um, this is like any job really that I see. It's like, if I do the work, then I got to get paid. Um, I can be flexible with what I charge, uh, more so than some others, because this isn't my primary income. Because I'd be living on the streets if this was my primary income. Um, but uh, these are the kind of lines I like, just nice, neat, like hatching lines. And like I said, I'm not doing them the exact way that Sandra did them. I could, if I took my time a little bit more, but um, this is probably already going to be a long video. I guess I should probably wrap it up here. Um, but yeah, if you want this, you know, uh, blue scale, image to work on your own, just let me know. I am at Geist Inking, Twitter. You can also find me under the name probably Trainwrecked, which is TRAINWRECKD. I think that's the way I spelled it. I was trying to be cool with the name of the channel. Trainwrecked Comic Fandom for Life. Most people can't pronounce the Trainwreck right. It's usually they'll say Trainwreck D. Trainwreck D. Let me do just a little more here and I'll let you guys go. But thank you for watching the video. If you'd like it, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I will honestly, try to start doing more videos. Inking over pencils, which is what inkers really do. But like I said, this is a way if you want to get comfortable with your tools, or you want to learn maybe certain things about inking that you know that you don't know. I think this is a really cool way of doing it. It's always nice if you can sit there and look at the finished page and go, yeah, that's kind of like what so and so was doing. It's like, oh, I learned a little bit, and then you go on to your next piece. So that's what I'm going to do for this video. But like I said, it's a good place to start. I had a lot of fun. Sorry for my squeaky chair. I always forget my chair's squeaky. It's a good way to see how artists do anatomy. It's also, like I said, an interesting way to see how the inker worked over the pencils. This is definitely 90s inking. You don't see so much of it today, even though Sandra, I think, still kind of has the same style a little bit, but a little bit more, I guess, more up to date, more to the times. Once again, if you do want this piece to ink for yourself, just DM me or follow me at Twitter and then DM me. So like I said, it's either Trainwrecked and then D, so Trainwrecked D, all one word, or at Geist Inking, GEISTINKING, one word, and I'll be happy to shoot you over the file. All I ask though is this is art I do own, so I don't want to see it for sale, your copy for sale, or you're doing something with it for profit. I'm not letting people use this art for that means. These are characters I don't own. This is, J.J. Kirby and Sandra Hope's work. So, I ask that you respect that. So I'm happy to give the files, but if I do this, any other one of these in the future, and people want the file and people take advantage of that, then I won't give out the file anymore. So, because this is artwork I own, I respect the artwork of the artist that did this original art, as well as the fact that I don't own these characters. So, anyways, hope you liked watch me a little bit, just going around. Throwing some lines. Like I said, this is, I think, a really good way to kind of start learning and getting comfortable with your tools before maybe approaching pencils. Or even if you've done work over pencils, maybe you're looking for a different feel or a different style. Work over someone else's artwork. It's very interesting to see. Go, if you want to have fun, go and do like a Bernie Wrightson piece, or do something of that level, or work over like Frank Cho's ballpoint pen crosshatching. I might do one of those in the future because he amazes me with what he can do with just a ballpoint pen. Anyways, guys and gals, I hope you all liked the video. This is should be up today, which is Saturday. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Please stay safe, but have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you later. Take care.